very vulnerable at that time because, sorry, this is my cat. Oh, at the time, we know the economic condition was uh, mm, what we call it. So it was balloon. It is going to blast in any time.
At that time. Because, sorry, this is my cat.
No, no worries, no worries.
Oh,
We love cats. We love cats.
time, we know the economic condition.
it's repeating. Think. Hello, Hadza.
Yes, yes, yes. I can hear you. I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Uh, so what I was saying that uh, uh, Hasina want to take some advantage at first from the movement. Uh, that's why he gave some spaces for the movement. There was no violence at the first when students protest was going on, uh, because in her authoritarian regime, what we observed that no opposition party, no political party can demonstrate any protest or movement against her. She used her everything possible little weapon to stop that. But students arrange big demonstrations, rally in the capital, and she take the advantage from this because there was a deadline coming to debt. That's why she wants to uh, take advantage to delay the debt installment. And when things goes wrong, then students got killed by the police. Then she used her all little weapons, her uh, political allies, to stop and suppress the movement. And the quota reform movements, it was still the quota reformation movement, they were still demanding for the justice, not to topple down the Hasina's government. uh, then we saw that it was still a movement organized by the public university students, not all over the students. When the Hasina's political parties and allies and the police forces suppressed them, killing uh, one students, all the public universities shut down. But the universities from all educational students, the private universities, college, and schools too, the students come out demanding the rights, justice. Then we saw a fuming of the peoples, and we saw 21, more than 20 students were killed by shooting, and it goes directly to the top, to the only principles of they demand now the topple down of the government. Let's say
My
one law.
first cat.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. There was something that is
Okay.
what?
So role of the students, they were in the cockpit of mass uprising. True, they organize it. They played a principal medium of mass communication. At that time, the media houses were not publishing or telecasting any field reports. Personal mobile and social accounts becomes the media. Student sacrifices their life. Now, if we come to the point, let's involve here the minorities, ethnic minorities or indigenous communities, into this movement if I'm going to involve them. So, first of all, the movement was about quota reformation on the public service recruitment mechanism. From 2018, there was no quota in the public service recruitment mechanism. As a result, from 2018 to 2024, the ethnic minorities and marginalized communities get the lowest statistics of getting selected in the public service exam. So students representative from marginalized communities also start a protest to quota formation to re-acknowledge the representation of the diversity and marginalized communities in the public services. But it was not march with the quota reform movement. They were protesting uh, differently. So when Hasina's government toppled down on 5th August, what happened? What happened after 5th August? It is we have to be strike there. After 5th August, indigenous students from Chittagong Hill Tracks demonstrated a big rally with 50,000 students on the demand of the Chittagong Hill Tracks Accord full implementation. On the same day, in the same city, a thief is beaten by mob when he was fleeing with stealing a motorcycle. Later on, he is declared as dead by the hospital authority. This turned into a communal issue. The Bengali settlers attack indigenous houses, torch down their shops and markets. The most amazing thing is all that incidents are happening in front of security forces. This is happening after 5th August. Rather, security forces advise the indigenous communities, please leave your house and save your lives. So some mainstream media, it was publishing that we just observed a new freedom after 5th August. All the media coverage was a new freedom. Hasina's fleet now, but the thing is that after 5th August there is no security. The security of uh, an anarchy was going on, and there was no police system. So the worst thing is the security of the minorities truly disturbed after 5th August, which we observed. And there was communal arsons going on and on, no media coverage. And every when we but see the media silence, and there's an uncertainty, because what the marginal communities and the indigenous communities from the Chittagong Hill Tracts was demanding was the implementation of the Chittagong Chittagong Hill Tracts account. But in social media, those accounts were attacked by the mainstream Bengalis. They attack in the cyber attack them about, and there's some uncertainty go on that are we forced to start from zero, because we have come a long way about the Chittagong Hill Tracts account. It was signed in 1997. It was not fully implemented. What we are demanding is that fully implement this accord. But in when we go to social medias, and you observe that the mainstream Bengali people are not liking and like to implement this accord. That so if democratization, if you relate with the this movement, if you know the democracy and the standard of democracy, if you like to observe, then you have to strike into the minority issues first. what they are getting. And if the finding is very frustrating, I'm frustrating. The finding is, I don't like the finding, because the minorities and marginalized communities are not getting anything from the movement. As that.
Okay, yeah. So thank you for briefly explaining about the context of how the democratization that happened in July 2024 has brought a significant impact toward the security of the indigenous community. So far, as per your observation, how do you see the role of the student movement in consolidating the democratic process? I mean, like, they are the ones who is behind all of this July revolution,
Yep.
and we said many of them have been sitting in the what is it, in the temporary government together with chief advisor Muhammad Yunus.
Yep.
Two of the leaders, I presume, one of them is in the minister, or in the advisor for youth and sport. One of them is for the advisor, or for the uh, post and communication, I think. But how they eventually consolidate democracy, and how they are advocating for minority rights, since one of the what is it? Um, One of
Myself.
the precursor that would eventually improve the quality of democracy is if we are respecting the rights of minority, and how you
Yep.
see. Yeah.
Okay. Now, directly to you, the role of students. Actually, the movement was triggered, as I said, to reform the quota system. To reform the quota system. So they strike the main problem was the 30% freedom fighters, the quota reserved for the 30% for freedom fighters descendants.
Mm.
Okay, at the time, uh, if you say the democracy is a long journey, to achieve a democracy is a long journey, is still a journey. But but when we see, when we first observe the quota movement, minorities and the students for marginalized communities, they are not with the quota movement. They didn't participate at the quota movement, because they like to say, the students like to say from the quota movement, we don't need any ethnic minorities, 5% reservation quota for ethnic minorities movement. They are not backward communities right now. But we know what we are conditions are now like. So the movement was, what I like to say, is based on emotion. It's not something comes out from the democracy. If
Mm.
it is, then it is like the populist idea. You have the majority of the population, that's all. Some majority of the population agree on a decision, and you're going through it. That's a populism. That's not
Mm.
democracy.
Mm.
And what you say, that if you have to uh, fully embrace the democracy, then you have to uh, um, respect the minority rights. Now, another question is the government. In this interim government, they have created 14 reform commissions. Now
Mm.
they are saying that our state needs a reform, because we are not our constitutions, it's a faulty constitutions. These faulty constitutions will bring another fascist government. That's why we need reform. So they introduced 14 reform commission. Now, amazing fact is that in this 14 reform commission, none of the chairmen, none of the head are from any marginalized or ethnic communities. None of the members, representatives are selected from marginalized or ethnic communities. Now they are creating reform commissions. It's 14, and in every reform commission there are 7 to 10 members. Then they have not selected any ethnic minorities from them. So how it could be inclusive uh, in, in the reform or reconstructions of the state if you don't include eh, any representatives from the marginalized communities in here democracy, if you say, then it is questions. And that's a challenge, and we're talking about it, but the interim government neglected it totally, avoided these questions. So I don't think in this situation uh, democracy they don't like, they are not implementing the beauty of democracy. They are going with the idea of populism. Hazar.
Okay, so if we say that the current Bangladeshi government is ruled by emotion and populism, how do you see the plan for reconstructing and redrafting the new constitution? So, as we know that when I visited Bangladesh, we had a session with Ali Riaz, and he said that he's currently trying to redraft the constitution. Do you think that this is something that would contribute positively to the rights of ethnic minorities? Since when I'm looking into the composition of the members of this commission, there is no single representative from the minority. How do you think about that?
It's true. Now there's some uh, dark truth about this. Yes, Professor Arias is the head of the uh, Constitution Reform Commission, and that's a good sign. But as you know, Hadza,
Hmm.
we tried our level best to include someone from ethnic and marginalized communities representative in the commission, the Constitution Reform Commission, but we failed.
Hmm.
There's a deep state. There's still a deep state, and we tried our level best. We not only tried once, we tried 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and more. That we must have to keep one member from at least one member. We say 2 member, one is male and one for female, but they say one. Okay, one is good. Then we suggested the name who is perfectly fitted to the member, but the deep state denied. Now the thing is that are the political parties are interested in changing the constitutions. You make a Dr. Alias might make a draft, but it has to be approved. Dr. Alias might make good things, but it has to be approved by the political parties. But the political parties are saying right now is that you just suggest us, you just make the draft, suggest us, then the people will approve. People will approve might that the member of the parliaments will decide if this get approved or not, not the people. So there's a big questions. Still a big questions that are we going? Do we have the mindset to change our constitution? Suggestions might come, and Dr. Alilias might put some uh, good things on the written part, but the critical part is the political leaders, the upcoming member of the parliaments, are their mindset and are that much standard or in that much level to cope up with the changes. Because as we see in the uh, political behavior of this of our state or in Bangladesh, like they don't like to give space for the opposition parties. They don't like. They don't like some balance. They always like to rule and exploit the others. Hazar.
Okay. Okay, so I think that it's still challenging to see a real representation of ethnic minorities such as from Burma and from Marma and from the tribes of the Chittagong Hill Flats. Now, I would like to move on with to discuss about the peace. As we know that in 1997, the government of Bangladesh and the Parbatya Chattogram Jana Sangati Samiti
Yeah.
signed peace accord in 1997. And I think that this peace accord is a basis for creating a lot of bodies related to the ethnic minorities. Yes. How do you see the transformation of this peace accord after the democratization? Do you think that the government of Bangladesh in this process of democratization, together with the student movement, would need a new phase of negotiation in order to truly understand the needs of the people who are living in the Chittagong Hill Tracts?
Okay. Now that's a tricky one, and
Mm,
it might need some time to
mm,
elaborate. First of all, after the 5th August, the students think that take it positively that now if we move uh, a protest or movement with a logic, uh, then we will get our demand. Because after 5th August, there were everywhere movement going on. This party creating a protest rally here, another party creating a protest rally here, because now uh, people are enjoying the freedom of speech. What we said that earlier in the Hasina's government, no one can demonstrate any rally against the government decisions. That's why when people get the freedom of speech, uh, they are demanding their rights. So the students from the ethnic minorities in the Chittagong Hill Tracts, they also think that now it's the time, it's the high time to demonstrate a rally demanding our rights. They demonstrated and they showed a big unity. More than 50,000 students, as I said earlier. But the thing is, in the deep state entirely turn it, tricked the word, like the deep state tricked the word in the 2018 from quota reform movement to anti-quota movement. Now they trick the word in the media too. It's they are demanding a separatist state. They are demanding a separatist state. The Chittagong Hill Trust is going to be, they are demanding Chittagong Hill Trust will be another state. It is going to be separated from the Bangladesh, and these things are going uh, publicized in the social media accounts. And when we are when civil society persons are seeing these and they are opposing their ideas among their when they when we are going to oppose the ideas of these in this social media, we are getting the cyber attacked. Okay, so in the Chittagong Hill Tracts, there's a deep state right now, and That's a great challenge. But democracy, if you say in the democracy, it's all the dark side of democracy is the, as I said earlier, is the idea of populism. The
Mhm.
demography of the Teton Hill test already toppled down.
Mm.
It's, if you say the earlier before 1980, the demography was 90, more than 90% were ethnic minorities and 10% were Bengali. Uh, then after 1980, it toppled down to 45 to 55. 55% are ethnic minorities, 45% are Bengali settlers. The Bengali settlers are injected from other places, not from other places. Uh, so this 45% ratio is turned down now as 50%. 50% more than 50. 55 now, 52% are Bengali settlers, Bengali, and 48% are ethnic minorities. So in this region, Chittagong Hill Tracks, the media is completely controlled by a deep state, which is run by the security forces. No media coverage comes out except their permissions. Um, you If anyone goes against them, still he lost his life, because we have seen it. So here the democracy, actually the democratization is not coming in near future, what we are seeing, because the populism idea here, it's spreaded, the populism virus is spreaded, and the beauty of democracy is far away in the Chittagong Hill Trace right now. But we are seeing, and after the 5th August, the three hill district councils uh, three hill district council commissions is reconstructed, but who are sitting on in those positions? They don't represent the people. It was selected by the deep state, and they don't have mm, the credibility to sit there in those hill district councils. So it's frustrating, Hadza.
Okay. I think that we should give time to students to ask. Student, if you want to ask question to my friend Shine, I think you can ask the questions now. Perhaps there would be some of students here will be asking questions. Tiara, perhaps you want to start, or any other students would like to ask question? Anyone? Especially the ones who are working on Bangladesh issue. Because I've sent you to write a paper on this. Please, what is it? Please ask something. Okay. Let me. Okay. Who's speaking? Okay, Inas, please do ask question.
All right, I'm sorry if I take over someone's position who wanted to ask, but it's more about the historical context that already mentioned before. I think it's really influenced like the agenda or like the movement and how the movement being maintained to take over a lot of turning points in Bangladesh. I want to know how far does the influence of the historical political context in Bangladesh, whether it's like I compare to some of the student movement that also happen in Indonesia, where I see like the motivation in student movement that happen in Indonesia is more like um, like for the future agenda that somehow has not uh, has not been implemented yet, or like some kind of a new agenda, a new agenda that never happened in Indonesia before. But comparing it to like the Bangladesh, I think it's very strong influence from the historical context. Is it going that way, or is it more like we bring a new dimension for the democracy, or any other thing? That's all. If that's clear enough.
How's that?
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Can you answer that question?
the sound was cracked. Sorry. Is she talking about the safety related, or is she talking about the right the, the movement
Yeah,
uprising?
because here's the thing. We in Indonesia is quite appalled by the ability, is quite surprised by the ability of the students in Bangladesh to do something
Okay.
from a very small issue, that is issue about anti-quota. Inas wanted to know how the momentum is becoming so large, so that the regime of Hasina could fall down in the period of 1 month. I mean,
Okay.
how could that be? What
In my
the reason?
personal view, okay, I got it. In my personal view, if I'm going to answer it, um, mm, I don't think the mass people might like my answer. Okay, first of all, the movement was led by the public university students, as I say, and when our students got killed from public universities, no one was showing that much emotions to that. In respect, with due respect, no one was showing, because in earlier we have seen seven seven 7 to 10 people got killed in the Shapla Chattor movement, and getting killed one or two students, uh, it's common. It's a common thing for the last 15 years followers. Even when the ruling government students wings, they have several groups. They also sometimes show their powers and attack each others and got killed in the ruling government. That's a common thing. But when people get emotionally attached to the movement, because when private universities got engaged, so private, public universities, who went to public university students, that's the children from the general peoples. But in the private universities, the children from the middle class and the children from the higher upper class societies, they go the public university students. And most of the civil societies, citizens, their students are reading in the private universities. So when private university students got killed and the number is up to 20, the civil society members got emotionally attached, because my son is getting killed, my brothers, my sisters getting killed. That From that moment, the movement become so big. So it's totally, that's the dark side of the movement. If it was going uh, through the way it is from the very first moments, like it's the movement of public university students, then I don't think Hasina has to flee, right? But when private university students got killed, and people get emotionally attached because the civil society members are involved, directly involved into the movement, and they are uttering their words. They started to uttering their words against the governments, and most of the stakeholders are attached because the attacks comes directly to the private university students. That's why people get more attached. But and one might not like my answers, but what I have seen, this is the reality and the dark side of this movement. Hazan.
Okay, thank you so much. I mean, this is a very interesting take for us because I think that this student movement has become so much romanticized everywhere. So much,
Yeah.
yeah,
True,
yeah,
true.
so much that we need to hear this very peculiar perspective from you as a minority, as someone who observed all of the thing that is going on in Bangladesh. So I think that the question, Tiara, would you like to ask question perhaps?
So another thing is that I like to
Yeah, yeah,
add
yeah.
into
Yeah, yeah.
there's two universities run under the military. That's one is BUP and another is MIST. They publish a notice. If you go to the rally or any demonstrated movement, if you have seen in any social media or video or any evidence, we have to snitch your student identity directly declared in their notice board. So that also strike into the students to why this has to be happen. As that.
Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you so much because actually we have was it experienced quite the same thing in 1998 when we are democratizing. But since a lot of people are romanticizing about the political changes and everything that is going on with the political reform, then people forget about the true vision of democratization. Yeah. Okay, Tiara, you would you like to ask a question, Tiara, or anyone, Yunita or Ikma or Haikal? I think we can.
Uh,
Yes, please. Yunita, please. If you want to ask question, Yunita.
yes, sir. Okay. Actually, thank you for amazing presentation from Thai. Here I wanna ask you about commit acts of anarchy by the students, because that in Indonesia, if they want to do the demonstration, they have to they have they commit acts of anarchy, so the government will hear the voice. And I want to ask about in Bangladesh, it is same or not, like the demonstration from the student from Indonesia. um, it is like, um, if we compare in South Korea or Indonesia is different, but we see the political system in Bangladesh and Indonesia is so different. But I wanna ask about why it makes a work quota reform get a big result about it. They can make Hasina ousted by the government. Why? I asked about the anarchy, the commit act of anarchy by the student. It is there or not about it.
Okay, Hazza, I think the questions is more related to the first one.
Yeah.
Why
That's more related with the last one. Yes.
more related to the first one? Why it strike in the emotions of the peoples? Uh, Actually, when an authoritarian regime uh, lasted for a long period, like 15 years here in Bangladesh, the people people truly frustrated from the authoritarian regimes, and they have the people were fuming inside, but when they got a chance and it clicked. But we know that as because as we are working in a think tank, we are observing it that people all when we are doing researches and activities over the years, we are seeing that every persons were fuming inside. Every persons were fuming inside, but they are not expressing their emotions publicly. But the thing is, students when students means he have uh, they have relatives, they have parents. when when we are seeing our children, when if I imagine my shoes in my parents, when I'm seeing my children's are demanding their rights, which is logically which has logic and which has they have the legitimacy to demand their rights, but they are not getting it, rather they are oppressed by the government, then I must have to join with my children. There's uh, there's a person's very uh, hyper, it's not hyper, but the celebrity persons comes out his with his child, and he directly told that I come up with my child and you should also come. Most of the celebrity persons comes live and say that. And when people get more emotionally attached, when a mom in social account he posted that I lost my child, okay, that's it, but I'm not going back to home. I will stay till last my breath to the street, and I will succeed. And I'm going to demand my rights. I'm going to demand the justice, and I'm not going back to home. That's and he lost her son, and the only son. Then she comes up, okay, no problem. I have many sons in my on the streets right now. I only lost one. And these things are attached, but the social media played a very big role, especially Facebook and YouTube. So the at the time, the then internet breakdown goes, no TV channel, no television broadcast were telecasting any news regarding this, and the print media, it was very limited at the time for 4 to 6 days. But people get it. People get it. Uh, the white cybersecurity team created created a server, uh, directly they create HTTP servers to share informations, and we got this, and every mobile phone become a media to mass communications, and it happens. It's a tools for that uh, we have seen last. So people got emotionally attached in this. That's why that's why it got clicked. But from a minority perspective, if I say the movement, the movement was not uh, sketched to this point to this point, because it was not the movement to topple down the Hasina's regime. Haza.
Thank you so much, Sain. One more question, I think, Tiara, are you asking or not? Or maybe another students, if you have any question. still have I think 5 minutes more before we're closing. No?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Actually, many of my questions have been answered before, so I just want to ask, could you explain how do you see the future of the student movement in Bangladesh after the overthrow of the Hasina regime? Does the social media still play a big role? Thank you.
Oh, first of all, there was a lot of expectations after 5th August. Everyone has the expectation was too much, and that's why we have frustration right now. And the thing we are seeing is the unity is broken, because it was not a political movement. It is not triggered as a political movement. Then, but after 5th August, everything's in politics. Everything, every move become politics, and that's why uh, it it's also now. And if you see, the acknowledgement of private university students into these movements, it is completely erased. It is not even uttered in a single word, the private university students contribution to the movement. uh, all the big positions after the movements are held by the public university students. In the interim governments, uh, three public university students got selected as advisors, and after the movements they created two committee, students committee. In that committees there's no representative from the private university students. So that's things I think the student, right now everything is politics, and it is, and they are standing, the student movement is standing far away from the mass people right now, because the emotion, at the time it was emotionally attached, but right now everything in politics, they are standing far away from the mass people's expectations, and they lost it, they lost their faith, and it's frustrating right now. Hazard.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Saim, for everything that you've explained to us. I think this gave us a very important insights on the Bangladeshi democracy from ethnic minority perspective, and I think that all of the students should know that no democratization process should be romanticized as a heroic story.
True.
Because that's what we've heard from all of the media. And thank you for this very beautiful session with you, Sign. And
Pleasure.
I really that you're safe and healthy in Bangladesh. And sometime if you have chances to go to Indonesia, please visit us in Yogyakarta. Perhaps you could give another talk to my students at my university. You're most welcome here.
Sure, I will Hazard.
Okay.
Have-
Okay, thank you. I don't want to take much of your time. So students, thank you for coming to this class, and that's all from today, and see you.
Hmm.